Hi everyone, my name is Alisa Tilsner and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. And today I'm going to show you how I have coloured this card here. You may have seen, I've used this image before on this card, so you can find a video of the way I've coloured in this card in a previous video. But today I am going for a little bit of a bolder colour, and I am using blends to colour it in. So sort of the same, well, I shouldn't say sort of the same because it's nowhere near the same, but I've used a similar colours in the flowers. I should say that. I was almost swayed to use the same colours as I had in my first card, but I thought, no, we'll be a little bit different. So this is the card that I'm going to show you how to colour today. So using the stamp set called Happy Birthday to You, and it is one of the free celebration stamp sets that you can get when you spend 90 Australian dollars. So in fact, for every $90, so if your order is 180, you can get either 2 stamp sets or you can get a level 2. So it's for every 90 that you spend. So I'm just going to pop my stamp on here. I'm not too fussed about lining it up because I cut this one out. And I am using Memento because we are working with blends today. We are requiring a water-based black because our markers are alcohol. Okay, so that's how I always can tell them apart. Sometimes it's always like you sort of think, oh, which black do I need to use? So but if you're using alcohol markers, use a water-based black, and if you're using watercolors, like either the pencils or the markers or ink pads, then you will use Stays On, which is an alcohol. So opposites attract in this case. Okay, so I have got my black image and I'm going to clean that later. Now there will be parts that will just take a while to colour, so I am going to speed up the process, but I will get started. The colours that I'm going to use first are Flirty Flamingo. And I always for smaller images like this, I tend to use my bullet points, and coming in with a dark one first, and I'm just going to zoom in a smidge for you. So I just start off by colouring the centres of my flowers, and because this, I can't tell whether this petal is one that folds up that way, so I can't tell whether this is the inside or whether this is the outside, if you know what I mean. So let's assume that we're folding out like that, so this would be the inside. I could be totally wrong. Who knows? But we'll just go with the flow. Now, you've probably heard me say before, if you've seen any of my videos, I really have no idea what I'm doing. I just enjoy colouring and I go from there. Okay, and then with my second colour, so this is the Flirty Flamingo Light, I just come in over the top and then just colour in over that. So I colour in over the dark and also just a little bit over where that blends. Okay, so that's how easy the first layer is. So I am going to be quiet and I'm going to zoom ahead for you while I colour in all of the flowers. Okay, so there's my flowers done, and now I'm going to use some Old Olive, and I've got dark and light, and I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves in the same manner. So I'll just grab my dark first with my bullet, and again, I'm really not paying attention to light and shade. I know that professional colourers, or those who have been Copic trained, or those who do special colouring, probably would, you know, make the leaves look a little bit more glossier and that type of thing, but I'm just going to enjoy my colouring and not fuss about that too much. So first I'm going to lay down my dark, and then I'm going to come in with my light, so I shall zoom ahead on that. Okay, you may have seen I used the wrong colour on my green. Oops, so I picked up a completely different colour. It wasn't even Old Olive, eek, but hopefully it'll get lost. Okay, so now we're going to do the cake, and I am going to be using So Saffron for the cake, and I'm going to actually use the brush end for this one. Just make sure I'm still in screen for you. Now I'm going to start off with the dark one, dark So Saffron. And I'm going to swing around back and forth a fair bit as well. So I'm going to start on this edge, and I'm just going to use a flicking motion, and I'm just going to flick, and I'm starting on this edge just because it's actually the easiest. So I'm just going to try and flick and sort of keep a line going up here, and because this cake is smaller, I don't need to flick in as much. I'm just going to turn that around, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because we do have some leaves to contend with, so, and flowers. So I'm just going to keep flicking. Try not to like put too much colour down to start with, and I want to sort of try and keep that line going down there as well. So that just requires just a little bit. Okay, and then I come to my light. I'll just swing around. Make sure I'm still in screen. All right. And then again with the brush tip, and then I'm going to flick over the top of that, but move it in a little bit more. So longer flicking motion. And this one I can try and keep my line about the same. Swing it around again, and then probably from about here I will try and do nice long flicks again, and just almost join up my two colours, but not quite. Gets a bit tricky when you've got a bit of foliage going on, so that way you've got a little bit of cake shine going on. And then all I do is come back again with my dark and just flick a little bit more, but not so far in. Swing around, and the same. I can flick a little bit further in on this side because my line isn't right in the center, it's probably 2/3, so I can flick a little bit more over there. And then I probably just come around one more time, because blends are great. You can just keep layering, and where you do, you'll get that dark edge, like so. And I'm just going to come under a little bit. I should do that with a light one actually. Just put a little bit of shadow under so it's not completely stuck. So that is my cake done. And now for the stand, I'm using Smoky Slate. Now I want to make sure that I've actually got the right ones. And I'm going to go back to my bullet tip, and I'm just going to lay a bit of colour down with the dark. and then under here, under there, a little bit down the side. And then with my light, I'm going to go over the top and just bring that into round about where, try and sort of keep that line happening as well. Something like that. Now, I did use a brighter yellow. I used Mango Melody for the centers just to give it a little bit more oomph in those flowers. And then I just want to bring in my original card. Oops, I think I've done them around the wrong way. Yes, I've done the light first. Doesn't matter, you just go straight over the top and then do the light after. Doesn't not matter. Okay, let me bring in my original so I can show you. Okay, now you'll notice that this one is quite a little bit lighter than this one here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add a little bit more oomph to your card by using some extra colours. So in the leaves, which is why I picked up the wrong one, I actually added in some Mossy Meadow. Okay, so to do that, all I did, and this is the one that I've stuffed up to start with, so it might not work on that one, is I just dot on, and I'm using the light one first. So I just dot on close to the base on some of the leaves. Okay, and then I go back in afterwards with my dark Mossy Meadow and I just put on a really tiny amount right on that edge line there. So you can already see how different that looks to these leaves over here. Okay, I think I've mucked up this one too much, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to zoom ahead and do the rest of them, but that's how I've got them. Okay, and then for my roses, I'm going to use Rococo Rose, and I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. So starting off with the light Rococo Rose, and I'm just going to dab it into that center, just to add a little bit of depth in those areas. Okay, so that's given them a little bit more depth, and then I thought, after I'd done that, I thought, oh, my cake stand looks a little bit dull now compared to the more oomph that I've got. So I came along with the light black and just added a little bit more here. And then I did actually come in again with the medium and the dark and the light smoky slate, just to give that a bit of a blend. And then finally with the light, make sure I've got the right one. Oh, wouldn't that be terrible? Especially with a dark colour that you can't really hide. And there we have it. I am done. I think I may actually have done a little bit more blending on the cake stand, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, I did fussy cut that image, but in February you will be able to get a die, purchase a die to cut that out for you, so you don't have to sit. It's not too hard to cut out, but you can, the die, you can actually cut out the flowers on your cake, so you could layer them up if you wanted to. But I kept the card pretty simple, just a double bow around the top and Flirty Flamingo and So Saffron card base, and a few little rhinestones. And that's it. So if you got through all of that with me, well done. It's a long video. And thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy watching, then please hit the subscribe button and the little bell as well so that you can be notified when I come on. And I hope you have a play with your colouring and show me how it goes. I'd love to see. Thanks a lot. Bye.